Hello and welcome to HEX, the Kryptosparbuch show. Today we're going to talk about how liquid is HEX, how is it distributed across the market, and also we talk about how does HEX come into existence, the early phase of the Adoption Amplifier, and also how HEX is minted every single day. Hello Patrick, how's it going?
Hello, Ellen. Exactly. So thanks for the introduction. It's going very well here in Colombia. Looking forward to move to Mexico next week, and everything all right here. And as you already said, we will talk about the HEX and how the contract work, or how the contract got into existence, and how we got to such a high base of all ever minted HEX, and how the interest system is working in HEX, so where the interest is coming from in HEX. After that, we have some things to say about the Ethereum fees right now, and then we will also do a analysis.
The reason why we do that is because we have another audit made from one of the community members who was looking at all the HEX addresses with the most HEX inside, and then he just made a chart where he shows how many HEX is in this hand or in other hand, and we're going to talk about that. But before we go to this topic, let us first discuss the Adoption Amplifier. How was it possible to distribute all the HEX in the early phase, and how does it look like today?
Exactly. So the first thing you need to know is that HEX started as a fully finished product. So everything was programmed into the code up front, and everybody was able to read the code publicly, and everybody saw like how the system and how the mechanism is working. Because every time when you create a new money, you need to create a certain amount of units, and then you need to ask yourself, how are you gonna distribute those amounts of units after that, you know? And HEX, as I said, started as a fully finished product, so it was just proof of mathematics, like how the distribution will work. And then everybody in the whole market had the opportunity to participate by putting Ethereum in the so-called Adoption Amplifier. But at first, I will make this screen share here, and then I need to go back in time. So if you go to GoHex.com, I still have this transform lobby here in the end, and if you go down till the first day, no, I'm sorry, this was like the daily data, but we will need that afterwards as well. So here we have the transform lobby, and here we can see that HEX had a launch phase of 351 days. The first day was 2nd to 3rd of December 2019, and here at first you saw, okay, today there will be distributed 1 billion HEX, and here you saw a time running 24 hours till 0, and through this time everybody had the opportunity to put Ethereum into the contract address and receive some of this billion HEX in the end of the day. And here is like the rate which was there in the end of the day. And from day 2 till the last day, till day 351, it was also a mathematic function based on unclaimed bitcoins. And it started like here with 513 million HEX, and it went down just bit by bit, because the more Bitcoin claimed their free HEX, which was also a possibility just during the first 350 days, the less HEX was distributed here in the transform lobby. But as you can see, even with the Bitcoin claims, this number only got down a little bit every day. And throughout the days, you see like 511, 510, and let's go up till the end. still 510, so just a little bit. And this was the way how hex got distributed. And this is the answer to the question, like, how did we got to over 600 billion hex? This is the answer. It was fully programmed up front. Nobody could change it, and everybody had the opportunity to participate in the daily transform lobby. And based on that information, we can now have a look like how the daily interest works. Because the daily interest, let's go down here, just click on the hex logo and go down till the first day as well. So here we go. So on the first day, you only had the possibility to put Ethereum into the transform lobby and to receive the hex. So no interest was made and no T-share were made on the first day, because this first billion of hex only got in the hands of the general market. Then on the second day, people did their stakes, and in the end of the second day, we had the 370,000. No, I'm confused, because here are the T-shirts. So this is the first day. On the second day, there was already some hex in existence. This first billion. So we already had a payout of 370,000 hex, but to nobody, because on the second day the first stakes were made. But as you know, a stake only gets live at the end of the day. So if I do a stake right now, it will get live when this timer goes to the next day. So in less than 3 hours, the stake I'm doing right now will be live. And that's why you still don't have T-shares on the second day, because only on the third day the first stakes were live. And third day payout just 1 hex per T-share. Only 500,000 T-shares, 500,000 payout. And here you can see the payout, the total payout is increasing pretty rapidly. And this is because the hex contract takes a fraction of 3.69% per day. And so I need to restart the sentence. The hex code takes as a basis, all ever minted hex, and times that basis with the fraction of 3.69%. So like 3.69% through 364, which is 0.009955 and something more percent per day. And this is like the base daily payout, and on top of that, the penalties are coming as well. And that's why you have even a fluctuation in this first 2 weeks, because you see here like 1.1 million total payout, here 1.5, and again 1.4. And this is because on the 8th day we already got some emergency end stakes because of new users who didn't know like how to treat the hex contract well. And there you already see some penalties added to the daily payout. Here on day 20 as well, you see like 2.7 million before, 3, 4, and again like on the 3. You see it really good right here, because here you have like 9, 10, 11, and then 14, again 11, and then 41, and 17, 22, again 44, and then it went down. So here it's without any penalty, or without a lot of penalties again. Yes, and this is the answer, like how the interest is created in hex. So it's a fraction of all ever minted hex per day plus penalties, which gets distributed to the whole staking class. So only to people who own T-shares, who put their hex into the contract, and for doing that they get T-shares. If you do that longer, and if you do it with a larger amount, you get more T-shares. And only owners of T-shares get the daily payout per day. And this daily payout is nothing else as the mathematic inflation of HEX of the 3.69% per year, which is way less as the central banks last year did, and which is way less as Bitcoin had in its first 10 years, or on its way to 20,000. Yes,
well,
any
that's
questions?
a topic we're gonna talk in a second about that as well. How is the distribution in Bitcoin or in Ethereum? But to summarize really quick, I see the distribution of HEX always in like two sets. For example, the first set is the Adoption Amplifier, where on the first day 1 billion HEX got distributed, and then on every day about 500 million. And this was like really a significant amount through the first year. But like you said, the distribution through inflation also started from like the third day, right? The
Is Ellen lagging, or is it me? So, did we lose Alan, or is he coming back? I guess what he wanted to say is like that there are two phases for him, like the adoption amplifier phase where we got to more all ever minted hex, and now like after this phase, the distribution of interest, which is in existence since the beginning because it's was programmed and finished, and since the end of this adoption amplifier, we don't get like so much more and new hex per day, and that's why you see it in the next chart, or like on the same page, but on the chart, if you just scroll a bit up, so you see all the days. Come on, internet. And here you see the daily payout per T-share. And as you can see, it increased pretty heavily. And that is because of this transform lobby, because of this adoption amplifier, because the basis of all ever minted hex increased by more than 1 billion hex per day. And since this phase is over, like here, the big payday, you see that it's became pretty steady. So it would still be a bit up if there wouldn't be new staking. But just think about this 11.1 number for a moment. And if I go down till the end of the launch phase, then you see that it's like here 10.8, 10.8, and we went from this 10.8 up to 11.1. So we got an increase in the all over staking amount, and that's why this we get a pretty flat line, because the inflation got reduced extremely. It's like 10 Bitcoin halvenings at the same day, where the launch phase of Hex was over, and new Hex only comes into existence when old stakes are ending, because all the new inflation always only goes to the staked class. So new Hex are only created when old stakes are end staked.
Okay, I see you moved on already. I just wanted to make this like a little conclusion how I see the distribution of Hex. I always put it into two different parts, like the distribution phase of 1 year, where it was programmed how much Hex is going on the market. And you see it here really nicely on this graph right now, where it's like going up steadily every single day. And then, like you mentioned in the second phase, when the adoption amplifier ended, we only had the inflation, but the inflation already started on day 3 when people minted their first T shares, and this enabled them to receive hex also, but it was so little that it was basically not existence at the beginning. But now we have a lot of hex coming out because of that exact reason, the distribution to the staking class. And now we're going to talk about the next topic, is how is hex distributed across the market. And like I said before, we had this one community guy in our hex community who looked across all the different OA addresses and all the other big addresses in hex and made a little audit about that. You can find this Excel sheet somewhere in the Hex Crypto Telegram chat, but we will now open really quick his screen, no, not his screen, but his chart he made. And this is this pink chart here. If we can just put it up on a screen share.
And it's his conclusion. It's not his chart. So it's like the conclusion of everything he found out. Ellen will zoom it a bit, and yeah, Ellen, I would say just let's go over it, no? So step by step.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah,
the first thing, the circulating hex, like we just said, just let's start from the bottom, from the top, I would say. Let's go.
Exactly, yeah. So at first we see the circulating hex, the staked hex, and the total hex. This is just the numbers we already know. We know that in the on the whole hex ecosystem there are over 62 billion hex staked, which is a bit less than 10% of the total hex amount, and this total hex amount is also the all ever minted hex amount. So as said before, with the daily interest, the hex code takes this 32 point something billion times a little percentage, adds penalties, and this is the daily payout which gets to the staking class, to everybody who owns T-shares. Then the next thing here is the origin address. For everybody who is new to the stream, the origin address is also a fully finished thing, programmed upfront into the hex code, which is an address where nobody knows the owner, which holds a lot of hex, never sold a hex, and since the launch and what we saw, it always acted in favor of the hex ecosystem. But nobody knows like who is behind that, and no expectations from the work of others, because hex is not a security; it's a financial free asset which has a price finding on the free market. So let's go on here. The origin address has also some stakes. So and this is 8 billion. So 8 and a bit billion hex is staked by the origin address, and this is only 13% of the total amount, all staked hex. So what you can see here is that the users are staking way more than the origin address, and that the origin address don't want to suck like all the economic energy from hex into itself. It just showed in the beginning like how to stake, how to make a staking ladder, and this resulted in those 8 billion hex staked from the origin address. And as you can see, over 87% of all hex is in the hands of users. Let's go on here. The liquid hex, which is like what everybody is worried about. We have the total number of liquid hex, which is nearly 570 billion, and out of those 570 billion, 544.5 is owned by the origin address, which never sold a single hex. So out of the circulating supply, nearly 96% is held by an entity where nobody knows who is behind, but where everybody knows never sold a single hex. And within the general market, within the general users, a total of 25.3 billion hex would be available, and which is 4.44% of the total circulating supply. And if we now look at the T shares, so the total T shares, as showed before in the go.hex.com contract as well, is about 11.1 million T shares. And out of those 11.1 million, 9.1 is owned by the users. Only 2 million T shares is owned by the OA. Again, the OA has less than 20% of the staking power, let's say so, and the users have over 80%. And this brings us to a total origin address ownership of 87.38% if you add the the circulating hex owned by the OA plus the stake hex owned by the OA, and the user ownership out of all ever minted hex is 12.62%. And the last thing we have here is the user staked hex. So out of the 63 point something billion total staked hex, the users have 54.5 billion staked, which is and 25.3 billion liquid. So the users in general have over 2/3 staked and a bit over 30% liquid.
Exactly. So, and with this graph here, what I like to talk about is two numbers. And the first number here is, where do I find it? So we have the user circulating hex and the OA liquid hex. And a lot of people may think, okay, this is the number that could sell on the market, but we know that the OA never sold a single hex and will probably not do so in the future as well. So the only hex that could be sold are those 25 billion in the future. And then what is also really exciting for me is that there is just a little percentage of this liquid and circulating hex right now as a liquidity on Uniswap, which is like, I don't even know, like $20 million or so. So it's like less hex. It's
the total liquidity across centralized and decentralized exchanges is around 7 to 8 million right now.
So it's like really little, and this means there is a huge opportunity for big price appreciation because of this low liquidity, and this is what I love. But this really takes it into perspective. How much hex is there really that could be sold? And it seems like that there is not too much of the hex that could be sold by the users. And then another really interesting thing that this graph shows here is that, like you said before, how much power has the OA in T-shirts terms? And it's like less than 20%. And this means for me, if we project this into the future for the next 10 years, 15 years, it means that the power of the original address will be less in the future. So maybe we have a lot of power by the OA right now because they hold a lot of hex, but they are not staked. So their power will decrease in the future, in my opinion.
Exactly. Assuming that the origin address don't restakes any hex.
Yeah, but we don't know that yet. All we know is because it is crypto and everything is on a blockchain, we know what the OA has done so far. And so far, it has staked 18%. And if we put this into the future, 18% is less than 50%. And this makes me think, okay, it will have less power in the future. What I think, I don't know if this is good or bad, but it feels like a good thing to know. Because now what we're going to do next is we look at the distribution, for example, for Bitcoin and Ethereum. And we have something for you guys there as well. Patrick has found a list, right?
Yes, I have found a list, but I closed it in the last stream, so I need a second to reopen the thing. I mean, I don't have found this list is existing since years. You just need to Google rich list Bitcoin, and you come to Bitcoin in charts, and they show you the distribution of Bitcoin. And the first thing you have to know that right now we are going to compare a pretty new crypto, which is Hex, obviously, with the oldest crypto on the market. And as you know, maybe that the crypto market is a pretty fast moving market. So, okay, you already see that. Perfect. So if I would compare this list after 1.5 years existence of Bitcoin, you would also see a huge centralization. And I can't move this window right now. What is happening? Okay, now it's working. Yeah, so,
Yeah, now it works.
good. Yeah, no, it works. And what you can see here is 0 to 1,000 of a Bitcoin, 1,000 to 100, 100 to a tenth to 1 to 10, 200, 2,000, 10,000, 100, and a million. You see that only 3 addresses have over 100,000 Bitcoins. This is also because a lot of people do hold a lot of Bitcoin in various addresses. It's the same with Hex as well. So I, for example, know a lot of bigger Hex people and none of them has all his Hex in just one address, and it's just because of money management. Because if something happens, a hack, you lose your key or something like that, you still have other addresses with you don't lose your total net worth at the same moment, you know. And when you look here, when we go up to addresses who own more than 100 Bitcoin, so 100 or more, if we calculate those numbers, we have a bit more than 16,000. And here we see that in a bit more than 16,000 addresses, over 60% of the Bitcoin supply is held, you know. So I know a lot of people always say like, yeah, decentralization and decentralization, but they don't look really at the way how this decentralization thing works, because there are always two things of decentralization. The one thing is on the technical side, like how the network is distributed across nations and computers and nodes and so on, and how much would be needed to attack the network to make something bad, like a double spending attack, or it's also called 51% attack. And the other hand of decentralization is the decentralization of ownership. And here you have huge and a lot of examples of that the decentralization of ownership is the least important thing for the price. So the more decentralized the ownership of a cryptocurrency is, no, not the more. So of a general thing, because even diamonds, for example, were owned by one single company, which had about 80% of the whole diamond market on Earth for, I don't know, 60, 70 years. And yeah, always a very high price for diamonds, you know. And in the beginning of Bitcoin, for example, only a few people held the majority of the ownership, and only over the years it got more and more distributed. But still, as you can see, I mean, there are, I don't know, over 20 million Bitcoin addresses on the market. It should be more, over 30 usually, yeah. And in under 16,000 or about 16,000, there is over 60% of all Bitcoins. Yeah, so the only thing what I wanted to show you here is that it's not really important like how the ownership distribution, that it's not important that the distribution of ownership is extremely decentralized.
Well, the only thing that matters to me is price up, and if an entity doesn't sell, I love that. So This is why I think it's great that the OA holds so many coins, and we see that they don't sell. I think this is great. So we have almost the same for Ethereum as well. We just don't show it yet because we closed it before. And the graph of the Ethereum is not as good as the one we just saw before, but I just want to mention that it's pretty much the same distribution in Ethereum as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit harder to say because in Ethereum they have way more addresses on average, and you don't know who is behind contract addresses, who is behind the Ethereum Foundation. You might know, but it needs a whole new chain analysis to say okay, those 300, those 1,000 addresses is Ethereum Foundation, and we don't have a chart like this. What you can do is, of course, do your own chain analysis. You can go to EtherScan, you can go to every ETH account and look it up, how it's distributed and to whom it's related and so on. Yeah, but to sum it up, it's not important how if the ownership is decentralized or not.
So before we talk about the price, I want to quickly bring up the chart here, what we discussed before, because somebody made a really interesting comment. Let me screen share this really quick. So I'll put up my screen share. So what SIG Hex 148 is saying, the maximum percentage amount of hex that could be staked at one time without OA is less than 15%. APY will be constantly 24% or more for average stake length. This is huge. And what he is saying basically is that all the liquid hex that is in circulating supply, like this 25 billion, if everything gets staked, only 15% of everything will be staked, which will give us staker class still a return of investment of 24%. And I think this is great. So we know that the average return of investment in Hex will not go lower than this pretty much, right? If the OA doesn't stake at all.
Exactly.
And
yeah,
later on,
nothing to add. You were on point. 100%.
Later on, at the end of the stream, we're gonna talk about this again. So, but first, let us talk about the price. What did the Hex price do? What did the Bitcoin and Ethereum price do? And later on, we'll come to this train of thought again. It will be really interesting.
Of course. So let's start with the good old Bitcoin.
Maybe before we jump into the charts, I also have another question. What also maybe talks about the price a little bit as well. So Baird is saying, with the launch of Pulse, is it better to just hold Hex or stake, especially seen as the gas fees so high? Also, where do you see Hex price support in the current dip? So we're going to talk about the Hex price in a second, but is it better to stake now, even though the gas fees are fluctuating high and low and all the things? I think it is great to stake right now for two reasons. First of all, you lock in the share price, and this is the most important thing. The share price today is at about 17,500. In the future, when Pulse comes out, it will be much higher, let's say 19,000. So why would you let this go away from you, and why not stake today? Another great thing to stake today is, when you stake today, you will have your Hex on Ethereum chain and also on the Pulse chain. So you'll basically have it 2 times, and this is great, I think. We don't know how the price on those 2 chains will turn out, but you can make sure to have it on both chains if you stake today.
Yeah, I mean, I know that there will be some support for the Pulse chain as well, just by talking with some people. And what you need to know is, at the moment of the fork, everything which got forked is copied but worthless. And then a new price discovery on the Pulse chain is starting. and yes, how it will work out, I don't know, and we still need to wait for some details if the Pulse chain will have a native token or not, and how all this stuff will work out. And I hope that this week, because Richard said at the end of the month, I hope maybe that this week we get another live stream from him, or some written article or something like that, where he explains everything, how he will how he will do the fork exactly, and which will be forked, and so on and so forth.
This reminds me that we also wanted to talk about something else. I just brought it up in a screen share. Put me up really quick, which is just the amount of gas price right now. Like right now, we see 59 gray. And a couple of hours ago, it was even less. So this would be a great point to start your stakes right now. Maybe switch or swap Hex, swap Ethereum to Hex, and then stake it, because it's a great time to do so right now. Yeah, and then Patrick, also like the next thing, because I think we don't have to talk about the gas prices too much, but the next question was here, also, where do you see the Hex price support in the current dip? So let's go on with the Hex price talk now.
Of course, yeah. Just let's move the screen share. Yep. And let's start with the good old Bitcoin. Actually, in the stream before, in our German stream, it was a bit better because we saw like nearly the daily top, and Bitcoin was at 10% gains on the daily candle. What we saw here was another price drop from the last week's analysis, down to the support level on the 47,400 mark, and from there huge rise. You see it on the general crypto market as well. Really mad gains today. Matic, the layer 2 network, did a new all-time high today, for example, and Ethereum all after our last stream. So we streamed, where we streamed, I guess, 19, something around here. And here in Ethereum, we got another all-time high. We got this 20% dip, another 20% dip. We have like higher lows, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. And it looks pretty strong. I said, even at the other altcoin market, I'm just mirroring some here. It looks pretty good. And on the Hex side here, on HIT BTC, which is a centralized exchange, we saw from the top to the bottom a 44% dip, but I prefer to chart Hex better here on the Uniswap version 2 contract. This is also the most liquid contract we have in Hex. And here from the top on the 7th of April to the bottom, actually today, yeah, it was today, those 44%. And as of right now, it looks like we have a good support here at the 1.5 cent mark. So we got it here, we got it here, we got it right now here. We are not in the big payday uptrend line anymore. We are not in the March uptrend line anymore. But still, it looks pretty solid right here. Every time it went under 1.5 cents, it bounced up again. It looks like we have some buy support at this zone. And last week I said that there is a possibility that we touch 1 cent again. This week, after seeing the last 7 days, I don't think that we touch 1 cent again. there is also a possibility maybe that we touch this volume again at 1.2 cents. But as of right now, it looks like 1.5 cents, and I would definitely invest the first part of my Ethereum this price. And if we get a price drop, then you can cost average and get a better average price. But yes, it looks pretty steady right here, right now. We can also have a look here at the version 1 chart where we have much more history, and just zoom out a bit. And here I have like my random lines. So those here, which is here from the lowest point we ever had till the big payday. So this line, you see the white points right here, is connected by these 2 points, and just some cloned lines here. The top line is only touching here and never again. And this is also like where my predictions come from. And here we could see a bit of a price drop, like 1.3 of a cent would be here, and then would touch this line again. And as you can see here this line holds pretty good. Here it went 2 times under before it moonshotted a bit. Here it touched it before it went up. So it's not a bad line, and I guess it will hold. And let's see like where we can go in the next month.
Yeah, what I think is really exciting about this line you talked about right now, if you go with this line into the future, let's say beginning of next year or the end of 2021, we are still at a pretty high price level. And this is what I like. This is like the bottom of your what did you make statement? That is like 5 cents to 25 cents.
5 to
right?
20 cents.
Oh, to 20 cents.
5
right.
to 20. 5 to 20. Yeah, I will just zoom out a bit. Go to the weekly chart. Go till the end of this year. Come on, let's move. Let's move, internet. So, yeah, just put it a bit smaller here. Yep. And if I go like to my lowest line here end of December, I have 5.4, 5.5 cents. That's why my lowest prediction is like about 5 cents. Here, this line, which is holding pretty good, would be 9 cents. Yeah, 9 cents in the end of December. And yes, like in this range, and then I said like for 20 cents, which would be like between this and third line. And if I go back again to the daily chart, then you see like this is the second, this is the third line, and here the price was in there, here the price was in there, here the price was even over, here it was in there. So it's pretty common that one can say the price could be between the second and the third line in the end of the year, which would put us at 20 cents or more. But I'm not like one of the moon boys who are just putting this part here where we no, sorry, that was wrong from my side. This part here where we went from like nowhere up to 0.6 cents, where we did nearly 5,000% in 2 months. Some people made a chart analysis just pasting this picture, putting it here in the future, and it's not like charting works actually, because if we just have a look right now, if my internet connection gets a bit better, like let's just assume, okay, we do have 5,000% again. I need to go down here way more to do that. I need to go down here way more to do that, and I need to go down a bit more. So I'm on the logarithmic chart, and if I go again, like here, 4,800 would be 7, and they say in their chart analysis like Hex will be at 70 cents in 2 months. It's not how it works, and this time around here was pretty different at the time around here, and that's why you can't assume that the history will repeat. It's a saying that the history is rhyming, which is true. But yeah, it's okay. You see that like all-time high, new all-time high, new all-time high, new all-time high. So history is repeating itself in that sense, but not in the sense that we will see 5,000% rise in 2 months right here.
Well, the chart we're looking at it right now is just a beautiful chart, and number goes up. This is all that matters. But we talk about that in our German stream as well. We saw a lot of chart analysis guys that looked at the chart of Hex and said, "Man, this chart is so beautiful. We expect to have a breakout in Hex anytime soon." And they were saying about 25 cent Hex, about 75 cents Hex in the near future. And I think this is really great. Those people are not connected to Hex. They are not staked Hexicans and things like this. They just look at the price because that's what they all do all day. I don't like to do that as well. I'm going on my price predictions from another point of view. What I do is I look at the people that are in the Hex ecosystem. How much money do they have? What did they do in the past? And we have our Genesis whale, for example, who put in 10,000 Ethereum with one market order and doubled the price. We never came back to this price again. Of course, he bought several times after that as well. This helps to make a good price. But what I wanted to say is that there are people out there with a lot of Ethereum that they already put into Hex, and also maybe new people come with this kind of money and maybe put it in the Hex in the future. So we could be at $7 tomorrow, but it could also take like 10 years, who knows. But that's what I like to do, is to see how much money is there available and what's if they would put it into Hex. And that's where I got my $7 from.
Nice.
So the next topic, Patrick, I would say is how do you see the overall market? We talked about the Bitcoin price, and we saw the Ethereum price as well. Do you think Ethereum will outperform Bitcoin, and why do you think so?
Yes, I totally think so. It's when you buy Bitcoin, you can just buy it. Maybe you move it to your own private wallet, where you only hold your keys and where the exchange is not holding it as well. And then you can just wait. You can't do shit with it actually. You can just wait until until Bitcoin reach the price point you want, and then you can dump it for the money you like. When it comes to Ethereum, you have a whole ecosystem. You have stable coins on chain. You have possibilities of trustless interest like Hex on chain, and you can do something, with your cryptocurrency. You can work with it. You can provide liquidity. You can on a decentralized way, you can just exchange it for another cryptocurrency, but just like 50% of your ETH, and then you can put that in the liquidity mining pools. Yeah, you can also get free money by not free money, but you can get rewards by offering this liquidity. Yeah, not only like trading rewards. So, for example, Uniswap also rewards some of their liquidity providers with more Uni token. QuickSwap Exchange does the same with their Quick token and so on. So you have a lot of possibilities on the Ethereum ecosystem, which you don't have in Bitcoin. And that's the reason why Ethereum is outperforming Bitcoin right now. And yes, that's the reason why Bitcoin made a lower low last week and Ethereum made a new all-time high.
So before we talked about the distribution of all the coins, of how many Bitcoin is distributed across the market, and why are there so few millionaires or even billionaires in Bitcoin and Ethereum? I think it is because it is really a mindset game. What do you do if your coin does 100x or 200x? What you do is you sell because you want to have your Lamborghini, you want to have your house, and so forth. And this is where Hex actually comes to shine, and where is like my favorite feature of the Hex game theory is where you make your ladder, you stake for 15 years, and those stake is locked. You will not sell it until like maybe you pass 50% of the time. And I think this is why
you won't sell. Yeah.
Hex will make so much more billionaires in the future than Ethereum and Bitcoin, for example, did in the past. Because people in Hex at stake will not sell at the first big pump of the first 100x. This is what I would totally love.
So, are you sure? Should I show you something again? You know, like you see this huge green zone at the left? Yeah. And then you see this red zone over a few months.
Yeah, what do you want to tell me about it?
Yeah, so tell me what happened here. You know, like we have a 70% drop here. So a lot of people who got the Hex sold their Hex after the first 100x. You know, I just hope
for them that they are still staked at some point in the future. Because let me tell you about myself, okay? If I know 100%, if I didn't stake it in the first beginning, I did many mistakes with my staking. I got my Hex, I staked it out really long, I didn't accumulate and so forth. A lot of mistakes I made in the past. But if I hadn't staked it, I'm 100% sure I would already sold a lot of my Hex just to like appreciate my gains, you know. And this was like totally wrong. Now I see if I would have done it like at big payday, for example, I would only have like half the money I have now. So I love that I'm protected by this Hex game theory from my own mindset, you know. I like to drive a Lamborghini right now, but luckily I can't.
I mean, I literally cannot drive a Lamborghini where I am right now, because here in Colombia, when you go in the city as well, so it's in the city, it's in the small villages, it's everywhere. So like everywhere you go, you always have those speed hills, you know, where you need to slow down to the first gear and then boop, 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 boop. And now imagine doing that with a Lamborghini. You know, it would be like.
We have this here in Mexico as well. It's a shame for all supermodels that they cannot drive here because of those speed bumps in the road.
And then that's the reason why supermodels. Supercar models.
Supermodel cars, yeah.
That's the reason why supermodels can't drive. Okay. So like, no, a little bit off topic, but yes. I guess that's the reason why the most supercars are in Europe, America, or Dubai or something like that.
Look, there are so many stories. We see it on Twitter all the time, where like somebody made a post that they said, oh, they are so lucky that they sold their Bitcoin for $30. Now it went down to 10 cents again, and they're so lucky. And then like several years later, they just got wrecked because they sold. And this is what I'm saying. Like in Hex, if you made a proper staking ladder, you protect yourself from selling and doing stupid mistakes.
Yep, definitely. Nothing to add here. Yeah.
So what else? What I wanted to talk about as well is how do you see the next bear market in the future? So maybe let's say we reached the top yesterday, and now we're not just going down from now on, because like the ecosystem of crypto is a whole different game right now. 2017, we haven't had this big DeFi space. We hadn't had Ethereum staking or Uniswap where you could gain rewards from your capital, and now we also have Hex. And what do you think, where will the money go when people see their capital going down in value, but now we have all these possibilities where you can gain in trustless interest? And we talked about that in the beginning of the stream as well, where we said this one user made an argument that the lowest point of return of investment for HEX would be 24%. And of course, the OA controls how much percent of return of investment it really has. But I think HEX will always outperform the return of investment of Ethereum, for example, or of Uniswap. And I really hope that people come to HEX just to be on the better side in the bear market.
Of course, and you don't have to manage anything with HEX. You just put it there in your staking ladder, and then you just let it be. Because when it comes to Ethereum staking, then we are talking about proof of stake, so that you are helping with your staking node to secure the Ethereum ecosystem. And what that means is that you need to have a look that you have 100% internet connection, that you're 100% uptime. What you don't need when it comes to just hex staking. And so what was the other example you did? I'm sorry, it was
Uniswap.
It was Uniswap, and there you also have to because you only earn based on fees, and if you choose the wrong pair, and if you don't do it like right, you can have a huge so-called impermanent loss. So when you have like two things in the pool, like USDC and let's say even hex, and then hex goes up 5,000%. Then you have way more USDC and way less hex, and if you then pull out your liquidity, you receive this impermanent loss. So it's better to provide liquidity with two stable coins or two crypto coins, which are correlated to each other, that you don't have such impermanent loss. So for example, on the layer 2 network, on Matic network, I provided liquidity for like 2 months or something like that, and I put it in when the hex to versus Ethereum was a pretty low, and I ended up after 2 months with I gained something in fees, but I ended up with a 10% impermanent loss. So I only got out 90% of the ETH I put it in, of the hex I put it in, but 110% of the ETH I put it in.
I know that not where it's only. Who was it? Karim said it really well, that money will always go where it's treated best, where it finds the best return of investment.
And
this is why I'm so excited about the bear market, when I hope that a lot of people will actually recognize that the staking is the future, and nobody does it as perfect as Hex does. And so you can earn trustless interest while everybody else is suffering of price depreciation. I saw an interesting question here.
Yeah, me too, but let's go over it step by step. So RGS said that he thought that I would last long with a Lambo in Colombia. I totally agree with that. It would be pretty risky to drive around alone in a Lambo here. So you need like a convoy to do that kind of stuff, I guess. And then to Bert, he's saying only 10% of hex is staked. Isn't that bad for the future price? And no, it's not. And if you go back to the beginning of, or like the first third of the stream, we showed you like how much liquid hex are in the hand of the free users, and that the most unstaked hex is owned by the origin address, who is not staking it, that the whole market gets better rewards.
Exactly.
So Alan, to the thing you would like to say, what comment do you have?
No, this was the exact question I had in mind as well.
Okay, perfect.
We also had this other user who was saying that even if every Hexican with liquid hex would stake right now, the return of investment would go down 24 to 24%, which is still a lot and a lot higher than the Ethereum staking and the Uniswap liquidity providing. So Hex will, I think, always be on top of the game when it comes to earning trustless interest in the crypto space. Yeah. So what else?
Crypto Learner also said that the word altcoin will be a word of the past, because it's not like that the Bitcoin is everything and everything else is just altcoins. Let's see what happens. So it's a possibility that within this decade we see other cryptos at the top position as Bitcoin.
So Patrick, maybe something personal here. Have you been in Pablo's mansion and have you started digging for money in Colombia somewhere?
It's called Pablo's Manison, which is a Spanish word for finca or property and so on. He had a lot of things here, and even up here in the mountains where I am, there is a huge space which was owned by Pablo Escobar in the past and is now owned by the government, and it's like a ecologic farm.
All right.
But yes, it's huge piece of land what he has here or had here.
Mansion and Menschen is like tomato, so pretty much the same, right?
Yeah, of course. Yes, Ellen, I mean, I know it's only 1 hour. I know you guys don't came here for 8-hour stream like always in the Hex community, but no, actually Kryptosparbuch is about to do some shorter streams as well to don't talk about so many off-topic things, and that we just stay Hex related. And yes, I guess we talked about the most important things. Just to sum it up, don't worry about only 10% of all the Hex staked. It's better because most of the Hex is owned by the origin address, but don't be worried about that, because ownership of coins, so like centralization of ownership of the coins is not a bad thing. Which is a really bad thing would be centralization of security, where one entity could rob you all, for example, which already happened on the crypto market, where somebody made a new cryptocurrency, had everything in just one MetaMask address or one Ethereum address. It was a ERC20 token as well, and some hacker saw a flaw in the code, used it, got all of this coin, just dumped what he could have dumped, what was possible, and all the investors lose their money. So it's not good to have like a centralization of ownership in just one address, but it's not bad to have centralization of ownership. And like Bitcoin in its first 2 years had a huge centralization of ownership. Ethereum in the first 2 years had a huge centralization of ownership. So has Hex in the beginning, and as we saw with that the origin address only has a little power when it comes to staking power, on less than 20% of the whole system. And yes, all in all, it looks pretty good. All in all, the whole crypto market looks pretty good. It looks like we had a dip last week. It looks like we are going to see lots of new all-time highs in the next weeks, months ahead. And it also looks like that we have a really good support zone at 1.5 cents when it comes to the Hex price. And yes, that's it. Please leave a like if you like our English stream. If you have a certain topic we should talk about, please leave a comment. If you want to go on talking with us in private, just write us on Telegram. And yes, all that said, from my side, have a great week, and all the best to you guys.
Yeah, and if you also want to talk to us in private, maybe in the future, we will be in Las Vegas in 2 months. It will be about, and we can meet up there as well. And people were asking me if I gonna record that and make some travel vlogs about that event as well. For sure, I will vlog all the 3 days of the Hex meetup, and you will find it somewhere at the Kryptosparbuch show, or maybe at my YouTube channel, Abbott_Hex. Go there if you haven't seen my vlogs yet. So we will do that as well. I'm really excited to see all of you guys in the future. So
yeah,
yes.
just like a new comment again from Kurtbert, like why will hex price keep going up? What utility are people seeing if they don't stake? It's not like that the people don't stake. Please go back again to our pink conclusion of the last audit, of the origin address audit, and there you can see that about 70% of all user hex is staked, and only once 30% is liquid. And like what utility are people seeing? I don't know. For example, our huge whale who got out 2.3 billion hex with his first stake. He staked again 1 billion and then again 700 million, and the rest, the 500 million, is just sitting liquid in his address. I guess it will be decided. Maybe he stake it later. Maybe those 500 million he will stake next year for 5555 to have like a yearly ladder. I don't know exactly what people are thinking, or what I don't know what people are thinking, and I don't know like what they want to do with their hex portfolio. There is a strategy where you have some liquid, where you just start at the 10-year mark, that you get the most out of the staking, but that you don't need to wait 10 years. You keep like 20% of your whole hex amount liquid to be able to sell it over those 10 years as well. Yeah, and that's it. Anything else here?
No, I think.
Ya, ¿cómo va tu español? ¿Ah? Ellen, ¿cómo va tu español? ¿Ya
Mi
hablaste,
español,
mijo, o todavía falta? ¿Ah? Ay, ay, ay.
mi español
Ay,
is
ay,
really
ay,
bad.
marica.
So I
Yeah.
think we got
I already know, yeah. I guess I will show him a whole new Puerto Escondido when I get to visit Ellen, because yeah, my Spanish went pretty good again, like in the last months here in Colombia.
Well, I was just spending my time doing videos, so I had no time to learn Spanish so far. But I will definitely.
You need to do Spanish-speaking videos. Then you need to learn Spanish.
Thanks for everybody watching the show, and we will be live next Monday again as well with the next topic. And if you have anything to ask for us, ask us on Telegram, follow us on all the Twitter channels and so forth. And from me, I say bye. See you next Monday.
Yeah, exactly. And just a last thing, if you want to know like where we are in Vegas, then just write us a private Telegram. And we are staying in Airbnb, a bit from the strip, but not too far away. So if you also don't want to be in one of those 5-star hotels, I don't like them. I worked in them. I don't prefer to stay in them, actually. So if you are thinking the same, then just write us a private Telegram. We are sending you like where our Airbnb will be located, and maybe you find a nice affordable place nearby, and then we can have some private talks, private drinks as well in this area of Las Vegas during the event days, or like even before or after the official event days. Yeah, and that's it. All the best for everybody, and have a great week. And we see us next Monday, same time, same place. Goodbye.